Peace, everyone. Peace. Yeah, back again. Shabbat Shalom. This is our new fellowship. And we're back again. Abba, Herut, and Master Menyelek. Always thankful to be at the end of another 7-day cycle. So give thanks to the Most High. And always big ups to Chief Yuya for just putting this whole thing together, and
Yes.
helping us along our path to, just stand upright and correct some of the damage that we may have incurred throughout our journey, and bringing us all together. We have a lot of beautiful people in the community, and despite the flaws that we've all been made aware of in ourselves and in each other, we still come together. We still support each other when we're doing our own things. It's a beautiful thing when you step back and look at it, especially in comparison to where we may have each been, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I know for me, I'm in a much better place than I was back then. So even giving thanks for that. How you feeling, Herut? How you doing?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great. And I'm gonna echo what you just said. I'm I am totally in awe and grateful to the Most High for this moment, for this experience, to not only that, to fellowship and to spend time with my brothers, but also I give thanks to, like I said, our Chief Jegna, Chief Yuya. I mean, he pours into us just like Elohim pours into him. And so my life has definitely have enlightened and corrected a lot of errors, questioned a lot of things to the point where you learn to live in a more harmonious lifestyle. And this is exactly, I'm just grateful. I'm still sometimes go through a moment of shock that I'm here. There was a time where, like most of us, started this journey. I can remember starting this journey and looking in from the outside, looking in. I'm still surprised I'm in. I'm still. So I give thanks because I don't take this experience lightly. It's definitely an experience that I appreciate, and I know you appreciate. And then again, the fellowship with the brothers in the womb, the women, and us communing, building, developing,
Mm-hmm.
growing, um, arguing, but it's building the kingdom, and this is what Chief has envisioned when he started on New. He had to start over, and then it's like I think of this, with Solomon, you building that edifice, building that temple, and then just when you got the right pieces, it comes down and you got to build up. But then again, being patient. And so I just want to give thanks for this moment, and definitely again sharing with you, my brother. I really appreciate starting this again. Me being here. This was not my idea. This was Chief. This is Chief's idea because if I had left on my own, I wouldn't have been here. I've been like that. Okay, Master Man, I'll sit back. But no, Chief is like,
Mm-hmm.
no, Abba. I'm like, what? How can I? What I'm gonna say? Starting
Right.
this all off, we've been on this for. I don't even know when we first started, but starting this off is like, okay, just he knew, he knew, and it's like, okay, go ahead and start. So this is where we began, and this is where this is going to tie into our topic today, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And something you said just now was it was really key when you said I can't even remember when I started.
Right.
You've been on the journey so long, you've just been pushing forward, and extending yourself and progressing towards the goal that you forget what back there looks like.
Right.
It wasn't until like I think it was sometime this afternoon, and I was like, "Yo, there was a time when I didn't know any of this."
Me either.
and, and sometimes you have to really pause and really give thanks because you look back at yourself 10 years ago, or maybe you meet someone who reminds you of how you used to be when you were 15 or 20, and
Mm-hmm.
you're like, wow, I came so far.
Right.
you know, and sometimes and it's not to pat yourself on the back, but it's just like, I'm really doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like your first time riding a bike, and you fall and you fall and you fall, and then um, at a certain point, you you get to your what you it's like a glass ceiling. It's like, all right, I typically pedal 3 times and then I fall, and then I get up and I
Right.
pedal 4 times and then I fall.
Right.
But it's just that one moment where you get up and you pedal and you're like, wow, I'm at the end of the street and I'm still pedaling.
Right.
you know,
I ain't
like
fallen
this is
yet.
really happening. I'm
I've
really
been
moving.
falling 1,000 times.
right. I ain't fall yet. Right. But now I can't remember what it's like to get on a bike and be sure that I'm going to fall.
Right. Exactly.
I think even that in itself is a reason just to pause and give thanks
Mm-hmm.
and you know be encouraged that you could keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're gonna also give thanks to everyone who did their thing on their respective segments. Sister
Oh yeah.
Yafe came through with the release on the first day.
Yeah.
The sisters South Hava and Akoti Maria did their thing last segment,
Exactly.
Astro, even Kuya with the assist, and then we had Chief Yuya, of course, always blazing trails that we never thought we'd be going down. I was
Right.
like, wow, that's true. Yeah, that's true. And then Aki El Kara coming through with the economics, with the
Mm-hmm.
code science, now here we are again at the end of another strong.
Right.
But yeah, man. And even the movies, like not to
Oh
mention the
wow, that's another
movies
one.
and the
Oh my
books.
God.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
gosh. I'm making sure that I'm not. It's not in my skin. I'm like, wow. That was the movie nights. It's like that is another journey that we do on Sabbath and sundown. It's like, oh my God. And the funny thing about this, when you're nurtured, this is why I eat one meal a day, because when you're nurtured, Chief feeds you. He feeds you, and you feed, and it's like, oh my God, Chief, I can't eat all. Chief, I can't. So after a while, it's like spiritually you're bloating, but it's not like gluttony. It's basically like this movie. Um, I'm so grateful. I get so overwhelmed that I knock out. I didn't go through this time, and I'm like, okay, let's keep the momentum. I'm like, okay, be ready. If I need to take a nap before or so, I'll do it. But the movie night that Chief breaks it out and then we watch it, and then everyone comments. And for those of you outside I knew, oh my gosh, it's something. And then what messes me up is I'm like the last time I was 5 minutes behind, so I know what's going to happen a few minutes. But then I'm like, okay, when I caught up, but it's like, wow, it's a moment. It's fun. My point is, it's fun. It's I really enjoy all of this. It's like, man, you never get enough, and then it's like a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
It's this ever turning circle. This I call it this. I think of the Lion King, Aki Zach, who I know stole it from Chief, but with the Circle of Life, I think of the Lion King, the Circle of Life, and
Mm-hmm.
there's always something to learn. There's always something to develop, and that's
Yeah,
where
man.
being in the space.
Yeah, man. And just to take a moment to welcome everybody to the space. I see you, South Havo. Um, Peace, South Havo. Peace, the fire startup, aka Imanaya. Um, Peace on the radio, Sister Yamino. Peace, Sister Margie Mariard. Peace, Brother Jason. Peace, Maquia. Peace, Chief. Um, Peace, Sister Maria. Peace, Sequoia. Yeah, man. Peace, 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 peace. Yeah, Chief says tomorrow isn't promised, giving you enough service to take home and share with others.
Exactly. Exactly.
Say he might have figured some of that Lion King stuff out himself. I have broken it down over the years. He still comes with his own angles.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Peace, Kel Fitness. Peace, peace, peace. Yeah, man. So, I mean, a lot of what we've been talking about so far, like, is not off topic. We're building on just the love, right? It's a love thing, and like I know we've mentioned it before, but this, I think, over the past few strongs, it's gotten stronger in terms of how the topics come to us. Because I might be doing something, I might be working on something, or I might be reading something, or might be listening to a segment, and something just jumps on. It's like, and just the title just comes to me. But
Right.
you was driving you were driving those kids to school,
Oh my
and you
God.
just sent me a
Here's
picture
right
of
here.
right.
I'm
That's
driving.
like 10 different concepts to.
I wrote down, and this is so funny. We're sharing with Master Menyelek. I was doing this route one morning. I don't even know what date it was. Because this is a route sheet. It has all the lefts and right turns and everything, and then where I pick up my students and their name, their phone number, in case I have to reach them. Funny thing about it, I didn't have no paper, so I'm not gonna remember all this. So I literally, because I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna keep this. I wrote literally the entire route. The entire route takes about in the morning. And I usually get overwhelmed because I'm sleepy, so I have to wind up drinking juice and water. I wasn't sleepy that day, that morning, that dawning. I was not sleepy. I mean, I was just getting these messages. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I just started writing it down. And so if I'm at a stoplight, okay, here's another one. Here's another one. For at least going on like 4 hours. I'm like, what the world? I'm like, okay, wait a minute. And then I'm turning it up. So this is it's so funny because I was showing Master Menyelek. I had a pen there, writing it down, and I'm like, I couldn't believe this. I couldn't believe in the moment, because we were talking about, we didn't know. We don't always know. And it's like, here are all these ideas, the thoughts of the topics we can talk on. And but again, this goes back to just building. But this is the lessons that Chief was teaching us. That if you apply the lessons that he teaches us, if it's in a new way, if it's in the solutions, if it's in the segments, the podcast, if you apply this stuff, if you live it and apply it, the Most High will assist you in your journey. He will, like, okay, here, this is what you do. This is like what El Karar does. Like he's our modern day Dr. Ben. A modern day Dr. Henry Clark. You look at him. He looks at it. He makes it so simple. I remember when Chief we were all in Sabbath, and Chief was like breaking it down. I remember when El Karar with his hat, and never knowing the genius in this brother and doing it in his history. And I'm like, oh my God. And then we get Aki Zach. He can talk about sports. He can talk about health. But then he makes it flow. But this is going back to what you're applying. And then Akoti Maria, Yamina, I can go, Yafe, Yakira Eden. I can go down the Softa Gertrude, Softa Ahava. I can keep going on. Master Menyelek. My point is, all this, everyone has a unique gift that makes it. But this is what Chief is saying. Just trust. Just don't think about. Just trust and live the process. And this is what I never did this before. I can tell people out there outside, I do not want to be live. I didn't want to do this, but I trusted in my Chief Jegna, and I trust the process. And all of this is where this all comes from. This is not something I didn't learn this in school, in college, and no, I learned this right here and now. learned all this. But again, it's about the work. It's about applying it. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work on top of your job or whatever you're doing. It's still a lot of work, but it's fun. Let me tell you this. I'm excited about it. It's fun. We be doing work like this. We were just talking about preparing for this segment. You're having so much fun at the same, and then you're doing your regular job, and whatever the challenges you're going through, it's like, oh my God, I don't know how I got through it, but look, we're here. We're here. We're here to serve. Just like Chief is here. To what? To serve. Regardless, his day is busy, starts early, and it ends late, but the point is, we're here. And this is the journey that we're on. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And it's not, I don't know how other people may perceive it from the outside looking in, but it's been touched on before. Chief has touched on it before, like, oh well, if I do that, then what will I get? Or if I sign up, how long before something happens? You know, how long before I'm well, or how long will it take me before I know everything or before I get it?
You're not gonna know. You're never gonna know.
You would have.
No.
I think
I can hear you.
It's blanked out.
No, I can hear you, Master Menyelek. I was just answering your question,
cool.
helping you. You're never gonna know.
Yeah.
Get out of your head.
Yeah, you're not gonna know ahead of time. No one's gonna tell you you'll know in 3 weeks or you'll know in 4 months. Because if someone does tell you, you're gonna adjust your effort to when you think you're almost at the finish line. You know, it's like that tortoise and the hare thing.
Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorite cartoons.
You remember the one Bugs Bunny?
How did you do it? How?
And you get close to the end, and you thinking now I was. Yeah, man. So it's like a tortoise and a hare thing. You think you're getting close to the end, and you start resting, you start letting up, and you stop applying yourself, and you say, "Well, I'm almost there, so I'm just gonna take my time and inch towards the finish line because I really don't want to cross it, because whatever my perception of getting it may be, it means that my life is gonna look different. So I want to know the exact moment when my life is going to start taking a drastic change, you know, and then I'll stop at the finish line and I'll party. And then when I think it's getting dangerous, I'll just put my big toe across the finish line. And then my life will change. But it's not a light switch. You don't turn it off and on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a gradual process, and you only the only way to achieve is by letting go of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like we're talking about love is love. Love is the connection, right? And you have to differentiate connection from attachment. You know, you could be connected to something, but at the same time, like Chief was saying in the recent segment with your students or your disciples, they're not yours. They don't belong to you.
Right.
You know, and you can connect with them on that intimate level that he spoke of, but still not be attached to them, to where your whole perception of both your existences has to be this thing. And if anything threatens that, then you freak out. You know, you spaz out and you try to keep both you and the student in the same place.
Right.
You know, or you may try to keep yourself and your spouse in the same place, or yourself and your children in the same place. And you start to try and limit the process that the Most High has begun in each of you, you know, and that could really cause some damage. You know, that could really cause some damage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that goes, like I said, our topic, it's a love thing. When we started this, we're using, like I said, we're taking from a couple of examples. One, the Anu way, where we have the hierarchy rule of the community. Okay, so we have the Elohim, the elder man, the the junior, well, the man, the elder woman, the woman, and the children. And so when we came up with this topic, it's a love thing. Well, one thing, we're going to start with scripture. Okay, so I'm going to utilize Matthew 6, verse 33. Okay, set your heart on his kingdom. I'm sorry, set your heart on his kingdom first, and on his righteousness, and all these things, other things, will be given you as well. And so when I tell you what, I'm gonna go and read the scripture. So that was the first one, was Matthew 6, verse 33, and then we have Psalms 31, verses 1 through 7, and that is. And by the way, these are my favorite psalms. But in you, Yahweh, I take shelter. Never let me be disgraced. In your righteousness, deliver me, rescue me, turn your ear to me, make haste. Be a sheltering rock for me, a wall fortress to save me. For you are my rock, my fortress. For the sake of your name, guide me and lead me. Pull me out of the net they have spread for me. For you are my refuge. Unto your hands I commit my spirit. You have redeemed me, Yahweh. God of truth, you hate those who serve worthless idols. But I put my trust in Yahweh. I will exalt and rejoice in your love. That's one. And I'll go to some others. And reason we utilize those: seek ye first the kingdom of Yah in your life. When this topic came up, it was a love affair. I said that because it's oftentimes, and this goes back to the hierarchy of the Anu way, the Elohim. For us men, I know where my rock, my foundation stands. I know where it lies. I know where it's continuous, and I know it's that my existence does not exist without the Most High. And so this love affair, and when we came up with this topic, I thought about the very fact that, one, how are we, when you're building a relationship, because I look at it with the Most High as a relationship. And as you're building that relationship with yourself in the Most High, that relationship, as we were sharing early on, it grows, it develops. And as it grows and develops, and then you notice the Most High, because I had to learn to surrender. I had to learn to let him be in charge. Like Chief mentioned in the podcast, that I should have wrote it down, but it was profound when Chief said it. And basically, it was, I'm not saying it verbatim, but he was basically like, you give up, stop wanting to lead, and allow him to lead. That was not what he said, but my point is, it'll come to me. The thing is that you give up who you are so that the Most High becomes you. And like you were saying, that Chief was sharing earlier, we're all his, the Most High's. We belong to him. And so the objective is, in this love affair, and this is, I think of the Most High as a love affair. And even though when this thought came to me, there's a song, old school song, it's a love thing. And so it's a love thing going back to, I don't even remember when I started this love affair with the Most High. I don't remember the exact date. I know it was some years ago, but it's always gradually been growing. And as it gradually grows and it develops, it gives me the ability to, one, trust. Because if the theme of this past year for me, and it really, really came to me, was I had to learn to trust the Most High. So again, if you're growing in this love affair with the Most High and utilizing the scriptures when we were using in Matthew, seek ye first the kingdom of God, meaning that I understand that his kingship is over me, and I understand that he is the ruler, he is the master, and I submit to him. I surrender. I give it all. I give all my thoughts and words. And so I'm going to go into Psalms 139, which it wasn't until Chief brought it up some moments ago, because I actually forgot about that Psalms. That Psalms, wow, that was really, it hit home, because back in the days when I was in seminary, that was one of the the readings that I really, and when I was reading it, I really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna read Psalms 139. Yahweh, you examine me and you know me. You know if I am standing or sitting. You read my thoughts from afar. Whether I walk or lie down, you are watching. You know every detail of my conduct. The word is not even on my tongue. Yahweh, before you know all about it. Close behind and close in front, you fence me around, shielding me with your hand. Such knowledge is beyond my understanding, and a height to which my mind cannot attain. Where could I go to escape from your spirit? Where could I flee from your presence? If I climb the heavens, you are there. There too. If I lie in Sheol, if I flew to the point of sunrise, or westward across the sea, your hand would still be guiding me, your right hand holding me. If I asked darkness to cover me and light to become night around me, that darkness would not be dark to you. Night would be as light as the day. It was you who created my innermost self and put me together in my mother's womb. For all these mysteries, I thank you, for the wonders of myself, for the wonders of your works. You know me through and through, from having watched my bones take shape when I was being formed in secret, knitting together in the limbo of the womb. When I read that part of the scriptures, that is like, wow, the power of the Most High knowing your thoughts. And this is going back to it's a love thing. When you understand it, I think of it as like it's a poem. When you build this relationship, this love affair with the Most High, and you surrender. And by the way, when you do this, the Most High will definitely guide you in your life. I can tell you, in my journey living, I made a lot of mistakes. And I can tell you there are some things that I should have basically been punished. I'm going to use that as an example. I should have oh, hell, I know I'm best. But he protected me. Going back to a love thing, it's in the heart. He knows our heart. He knows our thoughts. So this is when we came up with this topic, I share with all of us among, and not only Anu, but also outside of Anu, is that if you're true, and this goes back to when Chief was doing, by the way, and it's so funny because when Chief did the segment on the Jezebel spirit and Ahab, it's like, whoa. I can see why when he broke it up in segments. But it also, when he did that, I'm like, damn, I had to, it's like checking off marks. I'm like, okay, Most High, okay, if I was ever a Jezebel in your sight, in your presence, please forgive my ignorance. Because when he did that segment, and I got to go back because I'm like, okay, I ain't done. I got to check off, because the point is, when you're in a love affair with the Most High, it's like, I don't want to offend him. This is a relationship. We're in this together. And so the Most High, is he's building that, I think what Chief was saying, Anu, building the kingdom of hell on earth. In other words, the Most High was building the kingdom. Most people don't know what it's like to be in a kingdom where you live a life with the Most High as the central point of why you are even in existence, or why you even desire, or what is your first part of your life where you're seeking. The only thing, when I came into Anu, and I'll go back, because I'm gonna, pretty soon our anniversary is coming up. And I'm going to read the talking about it's a love thing. We had to write a commitment letter. All of us had to write a commitment letter. I bet you most of us don't even remember what they wrote in the damn commitment letter. Well, my advice is to those of us in our new that written one. I hope you had a copy. I hope you go back and read it. The reason I say that is like a love affair. Did you write a love affair? Did you write a love poem or to the Most High? Did you make a promise that you will be steadfast? Did you make a promise? If you did, if that's in your commitment letter and you haven't done it, what does that say? That means, damn it, go back, because this is why Chief Briggs did the segment of the Jezebel spirit. This is why Chief does the segments that he does. This is why, because why? The Elohim pours into him. To what? To correct us. To get us stay on the path. It's interesting. It's interesting how the world is they don't know that they're being led away. And this is what Chief was breaking down in Jezebel. You got people that believe they're doing the will of the Most High. And they don't know. They're not nowhere close. So this love affair, I just don't want to in no way offend the Most High. And I've got burnt. For those of you who think Abba Herut, have you ever got burnt? Hell yeah, I got burnt. I can say hell yeah. But not as burnt what I should have gotten. I'm gonna say that. So I'm mindful of. I don't want to offend them. I was never a hard-headed kid growing up. Never hard-headed. Discipline was that was my rod. The rod was always shown to me growing up. I had never had to worry about being spoiled. But I just want to share that. I don't know. I'm sorry, Master Menyelek. This love affair.
I'm listening. I mean, think about Chief's most recent segment. You talk about elder, what the elder has to teach the youngest. I can't say nothing, nothing that you haven't said already.
Okay, Master Menyelek looks like he froze a little bit, but it's okay. I'm going to take over what he says. I know he was saying he may have some problems with his connection. So it's okay. We're going to keep rolling. He's going to come. He's going to connect with us. It was what he was sharing was Chief did a segment on the elders. One of the segments that he just did on the podcast. It was podcast number 91. I'm actually I finished most of it, but it's interesting because he was just sharing, Abba, when do you watch it? When do you listen to it? It's gonna chime into what we're talking. I'm like, huh? Because we were talking about this as we were preparing for our fellowship tonight, and Chief was using in that podcast the Titus, the segment of Paul, the reading of Titus in the scriptures, and of course Chief was breaking down that Titus was a disciple of Paul, and so what happened was as Paul was the teaching, he was writing a letter. It was the eldership of Paul the senior versus Titus being the junior. And so that's what he was kind of breaking down. But for those of us who have not watched that part of the podcast, that is definitely a segment that he was saying. So, Master Man, I was just timing in what you were sharing.
Okay. I'm sorry for all of the connection issues as well. There's a storm system passing this area, and that usually throws off the Wi-Fi on this tiny little island I'm on. So apologies for that. But yeah. What you were speaking of, what I think you were speaking on when I came back in was the eldership piece between Paul and Titus, and just listening to an elder speak about, like even what Chief was saying, a lot of people's words don't match their actions, and pointing out that the sound doctrine that has to come from that sound living, and even the challenging that the elder women have to do with the younger women. Your elders are there to challenge you, and I don't know where it became cool, but somewhere along the line throughout our history, it was like I've seen it in movies play out. I see it play out in movies a lot, but I wasn't there when it started. You know what I mean? I could only reference the movies where at some point the youngers weren't trying to hear what the elders were saying, and the elders weren't giving the guidance when the youngers were asking for it. You know, I don't know if this is something that was recent or if this is like how they say a tale as old as time, where you have this disconnect happening, and it it doesn't seem obvious how to reconcile it. You know, because there's no community and there's no structure and there's no hierarchy. So when you look around, it's like something's wrong, but you can't put a finger on it because you're out here in the Wild West.
Right.
You know, it's like
Right.
every man for himself, like almost literally, because individualism is pushed so heavily over here on this side of the world. It's like every man for himself. So there's no love there. You know, there's no love um, with your connection with your elders or with your siblings. You know, whether it's blood siblings or just people who you call brother or sister. There's no love there, and you assume that love is supposed to make you feel good because of what you keep seeing in movies, what you keep hearing in music, and what you keep reading in books. And now that love is that connection. But if I'm tethered to the Most High, and you're trying to get as far away from the Most High as possible, then there is going to be, um, let's say, disagreement on how that love is meant to manifest itself. You know, how can you say that I'm supposed to be around you, but you refuse to let go of the things that I've shunned? Like, how's that going to work? You know, I'm supposed to be around you. I'm supposed to love you. I'm supposed to support you, but like you snort a line every time I see you, like blatantly. It's like, no, don't come around me with that. Oh, but you, I feel like you judging me. That's the main thing where people try to push themselves away from you and blame you for them trying to separate themselves from you. I feel like you judging me. You always judge me. It's like, nah, you know what you're doing is wrong. You know, and I'm telling you, don't bring it around me. And you try to guilt me into accepting it because as far as you're concerned, you and your dysfunction are a package deal, and you're not. You know, but you've attached yourself to your dysfunction. You know, so what I've seen in a couple of scriptures where the Most High says, I want to see which one of them which of them love me. You know, which one of y'all love me, really love me. I'm giving you these laws and these statutes, and I'm telling you this is how we move. But you're saying you want to move in a different direction, but you still want me to cover you. You know, how is that going to work? Because if I cover you, you want me to also cover your sins in terms of harboring them. I'm telling you what I don't allow in my presence, and you're telling me what you're going to do. You know, like how some people go to other people's jobs and tell them what they're about to do. Like I gave you a job description. I hired you. I told you, like, we talked about this. You know, now that you got through the door, you telling me what you about to do or what you able to do. Which rules you're gonna follow and which rules, quote unquote, don't make any sense. You know, it's
And
like you don't need to be up.
Right.
Yeah,
and you just tapped into something, because when you're in this relationship with the Most High, when you have this love affair, and by the way, for those that don't understand, really, if you're having a real relationship with the Most High, this is a key. One, the more you love the Most High, you're not going to be liked by the world. I'm going to say that again. The more you build your relationship and it grows with the Most High, you're not going to be liked by the world. Who is the world? Your so-called family members. It could be your mother. It could be your father. It could be your siblings. It could be your so-called friends. It could be your people. It could be an Anu. It could be anyone outside of Anu. It could be everyone. It could be your teachers. It could be, and guess what? And then that's another thing, because this is a love affair. So the question is, who sustains you? I'm grateful. Hell. And it's funny because I keep saying the word hell. Since I've been in Anu, I got people don't like me because I'm in Anu. I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What? All I'm trying to do is what? What is my purpose? I know who I am. That's another thing. The Most High in Psalms 139, He knows who I am. He knows why He got me here. So now I am fulfilling that relationship because I want to submit. I want to know. I want to develop. So now, as I'm developing, as I'm doing what He asked me to do, the so-called people that you're serving are not going to like you sometimes. But then over that, what I'm grateful is I've gotten to know other men who have a love affair with the Most High that I've learned to learn. Chief Yah's one. He's not liked. Because again, going back to when you start speaking those words of the Most High and it's not resonating, as people will say, oh, well, it don't, Chief, I love how Chief is like, well, Chief, it don't resonate with my spirit. Who the hell cares? I'm at a level now. Now, you know what? It's funny because as I was sharing the hierarchy in the Anu way and with the our Elohim and then the elder man, I'll be honest with you. I'm like, when I first heard that in Anu way, I'm like, elder man, damn, I'm older, but damn, I'm not that older. But then Chief broke it down. It's like, it's not about age. And he mentioned that. It's not about your earth age. It could be the other element. So I had to understand that. And so I didn't realize it. And this going back to the Most High, I didn't realize it until some years ago that being the elder man in Anu, I'm like, I can share it with everybody. I didn't know what that meant. And I had to be groomed by the Most High to okay, I'm having this love affair with Him. So now it's like, okay, you're going to be groomed. He knew I was going to be groomed in Anu before I got into Anu. I didn't know that. I just submitted. So going back to what we were saying earlier, you don't always know where the path He's going to lead you. Now the beautiful thing about it, He will, if you trust Him, He'll show you what the path. He's done that. It's like, oh my God, I'm like, I don't see that. I'm like, yeah, well, you don't see it because you don't have my mind. So I'm like, okay. So I asked the Most High, I want to have your mind. I want to know like you know. I want to be one with you. What does that mean? You have to surrender. You have to give up. You have to be able to be totally empty yourself and totally trust and not put your own, it's not about your own ideas. It's not about your way. It's about His. And so when I say this love affair with Him, I can say that it has grown so much. And I'm at the infant stage of it. This is the letter of the introduction. This is not the full book. This is not, we're talking about reading the different sacred writings. No, this is the beginning. It's like I have yet to begin. I'm only in the beginning stages of my development, in my love affair. But point is, I'm enjoying this moment. But going back to what I was sharing, I didn't know what this meant until what? You were around other men who what? Had a love affair with the Most High. I'm just blessed to know some of those men. And they are different. This is where our Chief Jegna comes in. And like he was sharing in the segment, I'm just here to fulfill what His purpose is. And then for you all to fulfill yours. He's an example. So we're called to be an example. You are an example, Master Menyelek. I watch you all the time. I know you have a love affair with the Most High. I know that. I watch you. I see how you act and how you present yourself. Yes, we can say to those outside I knew, we don't know every damn thing. I can tell you definitely, I don't know a whole, I know experience. I have experiences, but even with those experiences, I'm learning and I'm developing and I'm willing to say, I don't know it all, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to develop. I'm willing to be molded by Him. And Trust in the process that are being molded. And again, when you're in this love affair, in this relationship, then you build the relationship with other humans. That's going back to when you're not liked. I can always go back, and I know that the Most High will never give up on me because I've surrendered. He knows me. He has showed me, yeah, the whole world will laugh at you, they'll mock you, they'll do all kinds of stuff, but I won't. That's a love affair. He showed me that. He said, I know. Gotta have a new family. Don't worry about it. Gotta start all over from scratch. No problem. I got you a family for you. Don't worry about it. It's called Anu. Don't worry about those laughing at you. Don't worry about it. He had that already prepared before this is a love affair. And so moving with this journey that we're talking about, it's a love thing. This is what we are here called to be as men, because oftentimes we're not praised a lot. We're not looked upon as by the world, by the way, as they don't like that. And she broke that down in Jezebel. So I just wanted to share that.
For sure. You touched on so many different key points and so many gems in terms of just making sure that love affair is genuine, and making sure that trust is on the Most High. Like I'm in a similar boat, but when I came into Anu, like when I learned about it, I didn't know nothing about Anu. I was learning about Ephod, and and I had this deep voice come on the Brethren's radio, why I had to wait by his shop because that's the only way I could get a ride to work. So I had to wake up like 5 a.m. and I don't start work until like maybe 9 a.m. But I had to wait in his shop. And typically we would just play Yoruba music, but this day was different. He's playing one of the chief segments, and he was saying he had a few segments on the CD, so I was like, can I borrow it? And I just started studying, and I was like, all right, like where's the rest? So I had to go looking, but the path was laid out in front of me. I didn't plan on looking for Chief. I didn't Google Chief Yuya. I didn't go on a Google rabbit hole. Like it was there. Like I was there, and I was just sitting there doing my thing, and I just heard it, and I was like, this is a thread I need to pull on. This is going to lead me somewhere. And it led me to the space where it's like, okay, I'm still holding on to the thread, like that bottomless chain, still holding on to the chain, and I'm still pulling, and it's one of those things where it's like you can't keep asking like a child, are we there yet? Are we there yet? How long is it going to take before I reach the top? Just keep pulling yourself up, because with each pull you're getting closer to the Most High. That's all that matters. You're getting closer to your source, you're getting closer to your creator. That's all that matters. And with each pull, you notice that you lose something, but you lose something that is not only is it probably served its purpose in helping you to move in the right direction, but if you hold on to it, if you stay attached to it, it could lead you on a detour. It could lead you on a detour. It'll take you a long time. I think it was in 14 Keys where Chief talks about going on a decade-long digression from your path. I think so. I can't remember where that one comes from, but it wasn't for me. I'll put that out there right now. I didn't say it, but but it's like a long digression from your path, and any singular decision can take you away from where you're supposed to be going, which is why that mindfulness is so important, and not making a whole bunch of plans based on where you're at now. It's like, no, it's just, I see this step in front, I'll take that step, and the road stretches itself out in front of you, but you gotta have that love affair, and you gotta have that trust that when you seek the voice of Yah, and he speaks, you better be willing to make that commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So when he speaks and you hear him and he says something, you got to be willing to do whatever he says.
Mm-hmm.
That you can't just say, "Oh, I don't want to hear that."
Right.
"Oh, tell me something else." Like I heard the first part, but not the second. You saw what happened to Saul. Every time he got an instruction, he put his own little twist on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh well, I killed all the people you told me to kill, but I didn't kill everything. I kept some stuff what I thought was good. And I'll give back to you what you could declare to be unclean. That was my bright idea. And
Mm-hmm.
that led to the kingdom being stripped from him. It wasn't his kingdom. It led to the kingdom being stripped from him.
Mm-hmm.
He was stripped from his position because he didn't want to follow the word.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And this is it. Like even Samuel is like, "Yo, you making us look bad, bro." Like, come on. Every time I tell you something, it's like, who's the prophet there, me or you? Every
Right.
time I tell you something, you want to switch it up.
Right.
And then you say, I I kept these animals so that you can sacrifice them to the Lord your God. It's like, hold up, who are you loyal to? If you talking your God, you ain't with him too? You know what I mean? So even with all of the things that you may think validate you as someone who's on this walk, or validate you as like some people say, I know God loves me because look at all the things I have. That's how I know he loves me.
Mm-hmm.
Or I know God is looking out for me, or he cares about me because look at all the things I have, or look at all the things I went through and survived. Probably wasn't supposed to go through all those things.
Mm-hmm.
You went through a lot of those things because you were hard-headed, or you had hard-headed parents. And that's something that people don't like to hear. They would rather believe that the world is out to get them, and Yah is there shielding them from the world, trying to get them, despite the fact that they refuse to get to get with the program.
Right.
You were given these laws, and you don't want to follow them, but you still want what you consider to be the benefits, but you don't even know what the benefits could be. You have a poverty mindset in terms of benefits. So material gain is the benefit. Living, just living, being alive is the benefit, even though
Mm-hmm.
your existence is miserable. Your benefits in
Exactly.
your mind are so small compared to what your life could unfold to be, and based on what it was designed to unfold to be. But you don't want to look at what your life could be because you're so comfortable with being where you're at. You're so comfortable with not changing. You would rather
Mm-hmm.
not change than endure the pain of changing.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the question earlier in the chat. Sister Marjorie had asked, how does love change over time? And I
Mm-hmm.
can't even say if love changes.
It grows.
I know,
It grows.
yeah, I know we change through that connection. We change,
Mm-hmm.
and even like I don't know why I always use the example of Kool-Aid, but it's it's the simplest example in my mind. Like it's the first thing I reach for, Kool-Aid. But it's like Kool-Aid. You pour water inside of that mixture. If you put all the powders in there, sugar and the Kool-Aid packet, and you pour water in there, that whole process changes the ingredients. But I don't know if love itself is changed. I can't say whether or not. Like y'all can answer in the chat too.
I,
But for me, I don't know if the actual love changes
I can
or
share. I can share what
okay.
that question is. Um, Basically, it does change because I can look back. I can look back at the things I didn't know, meaning that how it changed for me. What I mean by it grows, you know, people in their relationships, their worldly relationships, their relationship with man and woman, they have an anniversary, right? And then now I'm talking about the real ones. I ain't talking about the fake ones that pretend it. No, that's not what it is. When it changes, I can tell you how it's changing for me. It's changing for me because I can remember when I first started. It was I shared that I always wanted. The journey started with Yahweh Shai. I always I always emulated this Christ-like figure that came into the space and the parables and what he was doing, and he was doing this, and I always wanted to honor and emulate him, because what, that was my image of a man who was following the will of his father. It was a relationship. So now it started from that. It started from that journey. Then for me, I went to the seminary and I thought that was it, but it grew continuously to the point where I'm not in seminary anymore. I'm in a new seminary. But how it has changed is the things that I did of yesteryear. I realized I learned that certain things were offending him. And as I grew, once I realized the key is I don't want to offend the Most High. So as soon as I was given as he's teaching me and he's giving me his knowledge and his wisdom, and then when I learned, like Chief breaks down, I'll give you another example. Chief breaks down the Jezebel spirit. So now I'm like, I know that, again, you're having this love thing. If I love the Most High with my whole heart and my soul and my all and my might, the question is, the key thought in my mind is I don't want to offend them. Because if you love someone, do you really think and I wonder this with people, how can you say you love the Most High, but then you go around doing things that are devilish and totally against it? It's even in the scriptures. It's in English, and they're still offending him. And it's like, what the hell is going on with people? So when I had to understand the Most High was like, and then coming to Anu is like, well, they're so far away from the Most High that my point is getting closer. So as it changes, you're getting closer to the Most High. So it starts where you can hear. Well, it starts where you couldn't hear. I'll use that as an example. And then I get closer to him, I can hear him a little closer. And the more closer I get, I'm like, oh, wow, it's loud. Then it's like, okay, now you can hear me, right? You can hear me, right? Yeah, I can hear you now. So now, okay, are you acting out this role of this love affair? And as I'm acting out, and then you play that role, and it's like, okay, I'm living now. I am his image. I'm because I'm striving. This is what I'm striving. But in order to strive, I had to let go. So now he's going to test you. Okay, do you really love me? Okay, let me see. This is part of the journey that I had to take. I had to let go of things that I did not want to let go. Let me start right there. If you love him enough, he may say, okay, I'm going to test you. Let me see if you really, really love me. Let go of that woman. Let go of that food. Let go of that. I'm like, this is what I learned with people. Lord, I love you, but I got to eat that pork chop. Lord, I love you, but I got to be with that woman. Lord, I love you, but that man, he gives me nice loving. But what did the Most High say? Okay, go ahead. Keep doing it. So now you can hear him now. The more you get now he's pulling him back. When I learned that, I don't want the Most High to pull back from me. So my purpose was, I want to grow closer to him, because most people don't understand as this love affair continually grows, you have the same. One of my meditations I do, the same heartbeat. I wanted to have the same heartbeat of the Most High. I want to vibrate at the same level. I want to his breath. Everything is his. This is not mine. I'm borrowing it. This shell is his. I'm just a vessel. I'm just borrowing this. So why not utilize this temple for what he meant it to be? And so that's And as you continue to desire it, and the questions I bring up, and he answers them. That's my moment of explaining how that love affair continually grows. Give thanks, Chief. There we go. Comment. This Chief. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I think you're on mute, Chief.
Let me see. I show mother effing.
We can hear you now, Chief.
Oh,
I hear you now. I can hear you, Chief.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord, everybody. I didn't know the mic was still on.
So, clear.
Yeah, man, great points you brothers are making, man. This is really, really a strong space to be in terms of like that sort of thinking. I think that component of love. Well, I wanted to address the question too. I think love does not change, but I think love changes people. Love changes situations because there's a frequency. Like love, everything that exists in the world, it exists through a vibration, through a frequency, and you have a frequency of love. And that frequency of love is the frequency of creation. So like when you have all that, let this happen and let that happen, and this came together and that came together, as the Elohim were creating, the Elohim were utilizing the love frequency, if you will. So I think that that frequency is eternal, is perfect, and it's constant, it's pure. And one of the challenges I think we have as a people is, yes, we do see our love affairs and our love experiences as very transactional. Mm-hmm. So it's very much like I have a lot of clients who come to me. No one says this. No one says, I want to give my love. Mm. Everyone says, I want to be loved. Mm. I want to feel this. I want someone to hold me. I want someone to be my companion. I want someone to share my life with, but I want, so that is the opposite of love. So people who approach it from that perspective, they never actually get any love. And, I may speak to them and they don't believe me, because sometimes they're so stuck in that spirit of, well, I can get love if I do this, right? If I go to the gym and I work out and I look great or I'm sexy, I'll get love, right? If I have a really good job, I'll get love. If I wear this cologne, the ad says that, I'll be irresistible. I'll get love, right? If I get this car, I'll get love, right? So without realizing that the Most High created this space that we live on through love, but love is taking what you want out of the picture. You don't want. If I love someone, if I'm walking down the street and I'm drinking some tea and eating a muffin or a bagel or something, and I see somebody who's hungry and I give them my muffin and bagel, I wanted it. That's why I bought it. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes when you do so, I did that happen the other day. I did something for somebody and they were like, man, this is inconveniencing you, is it? And I was like, yeah, it's inconveniencing me. You know what I'm saying? Like, would you want me to say? You want me to say something so you'll feel better? Like, yeah, this is a huge inconvenience, but I'm doing it and I'm gonna do it and I want to do it. But yeah, you messing up my whole day right now. So to me, that's love, right? Because I'm taking away from my agenda. I'm taking away from what I want. I'm negating myself so that you can, whatever, right? So I think a lot of times people get, or they don't get love because they want so much and they have so much agenda and they don't realize that love is taking yourself out of the space and tuning on to that frequency. And what happens is that once you hop onto that frequency, then what occurs is that you have a desire to experience more of that other person or more of that other thing. And that's what we'll say. We'll say like, oh, my love has grown. I don't think it grows. It's just that you're allowing it to open itself up in more places. It was there the whole time trying to get in. You know, like you might meet someone in the beginning, let's say, especially for us fellas, you meet a sister, and when you first meet her, she offers to do something for you. Like, hey, how about I cook food for you once a strong so you can have a good meal once a strong? You're like, nah, I'm all right. Because you don't trust her. You know, it's like she trying to figure out ways to be in my life regularly. Nah, you know, and then over time, you might say, yeah, it would be nice to see her on Sunday and eat a meal. And you know what I mean? So it's not so much that love grew, it's that you allowed more. You got more of your ego and more of your fears and your concerns out of the way and allowed love to just do what it does. You know, so I think it doesn't so much change over time, but I think over time we become more faithful and trusting it. You know, so like even now when we talk about the Most High, we'll say things like, "Yo, whatever you tell me to do, I'm gonna do it. If you tell me to move left, I'll move left. Tell me to move." You wasn't like that the first day. You know what I'm saying? First day, you was like, "I'm gonna try this out, but if this don't work out, I'm gonna go be a Buddhist." You know what I mean? So yeah, make something, some miracle, something, do something, get me this job, you know, whatever it is. Or don't let these dudes jump me. You know, some people got saved while they was walking down the street.
Right.
You know, there was dudes behind them and like, oh God, if you get me out of this, I swear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'll never leave you or forsake you. If you never leave me, forsake me right now. You know, so that's just what I would say on that. I think it's become so transactional because we live in a capitalist society. So the society we live in, it's always give me, give me, and it's based on production and consumption. And the average person is a consumer. So we look at everything as something to be consumed, even love. You know, we just want to burn it all up and use it all up. And then when it's used all up and finished, then we start blaming everything else other than the fact that we came in just to take and consume, and we only gave what we gave to get something.
Right.
You
Then
know,
it's on to the next one.
On to the net to consume that one again,
Right.
and consume until we finally get to the age where we say things like, man, it's been 7 years, and in 7 years no one has told me they love me. I don't feel like I can be loved. I don't feel like I'm lovable or this or that. You never allowed love in your life to begin with from the first day, you know. So that's what I would say on that.
And it's
there we go.
you're not.
Yeah, I
not
got it.
looking for
I'm doing
love.
like Chief did. It's funny because Chief, like you just shared, one of my group of students, their last day was Wednesday, and they did something that I never expected. They brought cards, they brought stuff, and I'm like, I didn't, you know, that's another thing with the Most High. I don't, like you were just sharing, because people go, like, they only go to the Creator when they want something, and it's like, I just want to do it. And so they did something which even the parents, I miss them, because that group of students, and one of them is junior high, she's going to high school now. Wow, they're growing, and it's going back to change. But what what a lot of them did, which I didn't expect, they acknowledged me with cards and stuff like that, and I didn't ask for this. And one of them was one of my 4-year-olds. He rode out a bus and had driver, and that's so precious to me. But that's going back to love. I didn't ask for it, but they were thanking me because I greeted them every morning. I talked to dad, I talked to mom, especially the dads. The dads are the champions. They're always there. If they're running late, it don't matter. I'm like, Dad, don't worry about it. I got you. But the point is, as the school year is getting ready to end, I'm not expecting. That's going back to the Most High. It wasn't until the Most High was like, I'm going to do this. You didn't ask for it. I'm going to do it. And that's another part that I didn't expect.
And they wanted to give their love to you. They wanted to show you appreciation.
Exactly. But that's because I was not expecting nothing. I was giving it, like Chief was just sharing, just giving it because it's just because. It's because of what I love to do. I share those children are my moment of sanity. Dealing with adults, oh gracious. And even though I go through many trials, like she was saying, I hate driving. I hate it. But I do it because and yes, it's an inconvenience. Damn right. Inconvenience. But it's not an inconvenience for the children because it's a service. And that's the part that I enjoy. I love seeing them in their face and seeing their smile. And one of the girls, she don't talk at all. She was my first one. I'm like, oh my God. Oh. I was not expecting this. And that's going back to the Most High. I look at not only those children, but I see the Most High in those children as well. And I see how the Most High is like, see, this is my love for you. Like you were just sharing, Chief. So I just, yeah.
And it didn't start out that way with your relationship with them.
No. It started with the trauma of Jezebel's. But look how the Most High took that bad experience and changed it because I was just surrendering. Just do it. And just like following through and doing something that I can love and give back. And just like you're saying, you Chief, you always give yourself tirelessly. This going back to your love affair with the Most High. You give yourself tirelessly. I oh my gosh, it just came to my mind. At one of the retreats, I think it was the first retreat. Chief Yafe was it was funny. Yafe was she went through an issue with her mom. I remember this. Damn it. See, this is what I'm talking about. You were tired. I mean, but Chief was willing to go to do what he needed to do. I remember that. You were tired. I think I don't even know if your eyes. I can't remember if your eyes were red. I can't remember.
His eyes were red.
But the point is, he was like, I got to go because I don't want it to happen.
Yeah. After you finished, like you just finished teaching a whole lesson.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody done went to bed. I was like, yo.
Yeah. My eyes were like burning coals. I was. Yeah. But you know what does a shepherd do? You know, when the Most High says, "Yo, this one, that one, that one, that one, take care of them. If you don't, punch you in your chest." What do? You know what I mean? So you gotta be that shepherd in so many different ways. I mean, there's very few times that I do this work and I'm like 100%. You know, like I've looked over the years, even looking at like some of the videos and stuff I do, I marvel because I'm always like, man, you always look tired. You know, like, and I'm looking at it like, I'm like, that's how you look? God, dog. You know what I'm saying? You always look like you could use a nap, you know? But it's like, you know, that's one of the things that when I used to train, well, I still teach fighters this now, but I used to train a lot of people for street combat, you know, not so much like what I'm doing now with the boxing, but so I would usually have my guys fight like after I would teach class. So you done did your warm up, we done taught class, we've been kicking each other and punching each other all around the dojo, and then after that, then we do another workout at the end, and then we fight. You see, so you're dog tired. You're like, but I would always teach them, you know, when you're in the streets, no one's waiting for you to catch your breath or for you to feel good today, or I got a headache today. I have the flu. All right, well, we're gonna fight. Let's see, what, 3-4 days? You think you'll be feeling all right? You know what I'm saying? You get some soup. Yo, they make good soup down the street. You get some of that soup, that'll fix you right up. And then after that, and I'm
not even mad no more.
right, exactly. I'll beat the brakes off of you. Let's say the 15th of June. You know, so it's like it doesn't work like that. So you have to be in all seasons, whether it's snow, you know, whether it's raining, whether it's freezing cold, you have to be ready to be on that line doing your job. You know what I mean? And if you have a willing heart and want to do that, the Most High will restore you. You know, y'all ain't never seen me fall asleep during the broadcast or anything like that. I'm the Most High just like got me up on stilts, like get your big butt up, stay up. Got 2 pricks in my eyes, you know. You know, so yeah, man. As long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, man, the restoration will be there, and that's part of the love energy too. I mean, look at the things we do. Like you said, you're tired in the dawning. You know, you're sleepy, and I know you wake up at 3 a.m. every day. You know what I mean? So, getting up and then having to deal with a busload of after having to travel to the job, right? You got to get up, then you got to get over there, and then you have to, you know, deal with a busload of children. But that love, what it does is it lets you look at yourself through the eyes of each of those children, and those children are saying, "Hey, man, don't crash this bus. We finger painting today, all right? I ain't gonna miss finger painting, and it's Friday, it's pizza day, so I ain't missing pizza and I ain't missing finger painting. Keep up, stay up." So you know. That's what love is. Love is when we have the ability to take our consciousness and not only inject it into another person, but take some time to share their experience with them. And when we share their experience with them, then we know how to love them. You know, as opposed to saying, like, trying to impose me. I could say, well, I'm the chief judge now. Yeah, I love all y'all. And because I love all y'all, this is how I got to talk to you. And this is how I got to deal with you. You know what I mean? That ain't love. Love is taking the time out to learn Sister Naya, to learn Sister Yafe, to learn Aki El Karar, you know, and seeing the world through their eyes for a moment, so that way you'll know how to properly shepherd them. You know what language they speak. You know what colors they see when they look out into the world. And if you're a Jegna or a chief or a pastor, you got to do that many times over. And you have to memorize it. You know, you got to have it all working in your head. You know, that's what some pastors is a full-time job. They're like, nah, y'all gonna give me a salary. You know? This is hard work. Y'all gonna give me a salary. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, it's just the Most High will restore you, man. When you are tuned into that frequency, you'll be all right. You can last forever tuned into that frequency. You know.
It's funny you said that, Chief. My bus broke down Tuesday. Never has ever done. On the way to school. The funny thing about that, it was a transmission. It leaked. It was leaking when I was doing my pre-trip. I noticed it was a small trickle. So, whoa, I got through most of my kids. I had one left. Nusrat. Whoa. I'm like, oh, no, you can't break down. And it literally, it was like 4 miles to get to her. I got the other ones that I'm like, oh, no. I got it. I'm like, we're gonna break it. The thing would start and it wouldn't move, and I'm stalling. I'm like, we're gonna get there. I got there to her, and she's at a school, because most of the schools I went when I picked them up, they station at a school in case something happens, so they don't be in the elements or so.
Okay.
It wouldn't go no further than that.
Than her house.
When I picked her up, her dad gave her to me. It didn't go any further than that. I was grateful that I got her, because I didn't want her dad and her waiting out there. I got to her. Now I was pumping with that transmission, and it's funny that I know the oil seeped out. Funny thing about it, Chief, it broke down. I had to wait. The mechanic brought another bus. I thought he was going to, because I knew they're going to do something that's never happened before. Because my bus, I love it. My bus is always there. But it broke down Tuesday. Did you know? I stood up because I know how my kids are. One time, my student that never talks, One time, my first time I was on that route, I was like an hour and 45 minutes. And she said to me, and I'll never forget it. She said, you know what, Mr. Driver? I understand we were late, but I want to get to school because in the morning they get their breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since then, I never was late. Even though it's snow and everything. The point is, I got them. So now they're on the bus. We're in a school. There's another school. It's not their school. It's another school. And my monitor went in. She had to go to the restroom. And I said, well, she asked if anybody wants to go. They said, no. They're back there chilling. They're like, you know what? You got this. And
Right.
like, so I said, you guys want to, you know, because I'm watching them. Like, they're like, no, we only got a couple days of school anyway. We ain't going to do nothing. Don't worry about it. They were content. They were having a party. The mechanic brought the bus. I'm like, I was shocked. I'm like, the one that wanted to go to school, I said, but I want to get you out of school so you have breakfast. No, we had breakfast already. I had breakfast in my morning. I'm like, huh? But that goes back to the love. I was concerned about them getting to school, not only on get them there on time, but to get to their breakfast. They were like, no, we okay. They were an hour late getting there, but when we got there, they were fine. And I'm like, wow. They didn't complain. They didn't. The other principal said, ask them if they need to go to the restroom. They need water. We're here for you. They didn't mean. And they're like, nope. We know you got this. We know
but you didn't complain either.
Huh?
You didn't complain either. Like, you weren't shaking your fist at the happens.
Like, okay. I'm like, I ain't worried about it if it happens. I'm like, I just want to get there and get my last student, which I did. I was satisfied. Thank God my babies didn't go that day. So the point is, the Most High looked after me. He took it. There was the whole thing. I'm like, whoa, God, you go, Most High. You the bomb. You the bomb. There you go. But that's the point. Regardless, that's the part that I have joy, because it's this going back to this love affair, this love thing, and so like you just shared, I'm not worried about it. It's gonna get there. We're gonna happen. So yeah, whoa.
Yeah, I think that's a good example of the trickle down from the Most High to the elder man to the children, down to the children. You know, you had your faith in the Most High. They had faith in you. They didn't see you panicking. You know, you were just making sure they were good. You know, as opposed to, you know, why me? This always happens to me.
I never complained. Exactly.
Yeah.
They never complained, not one moment. They were like, no, we're good. We're cool. Matter of fact, we weren't going to do nothing today anyway. They were all, I'm like, huh? No, we're good. We ain't in no rush to get there. We'll get there.
Right.
We're going to get there. I'm like, wow.
They didn't got their summer booked out. They don't worry about you.
Huh?
They didn't got their summer booked out. They don't worry about you.
But this is the part, like Chief just shared. I watched the Elohim in each and every one of them. And the children, that's another part that I enjoy. When you see how the Most High comes out in each and every one of them, this is why I'm so grateful. Like I know next year, I already told the parents, they're like, oh, I hope you come. I said, you know what? I already know I'll be back. I can't. No, I'm enjoying this. Those are my babies, and I'm grateful for the parents. The parents they never complained. They always there. This is going back to giving back. This is about, again, and then I look at the same way I'm serving them, how the Most High serves me. He's like, no, I know you got this. And that's why I'm like, I made a lot of mistakes. Yeah, but you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. I'm like.
How many children do you typically have on your bus, Abba Herut?
I have 3 schools. No, I have 4 schools. So typically in the morning, the one group is 2 schools. They're combined. So that group, that's about 12 of them. Now my special needs students, that's enough. That was later. Matter of fact, no, I had to pick them up hourly. Their parents did not complain. They all came to school, and they were an hour late getting. I'm like, wow, this is something. So
how many more children do you want?
I had to go and pick up the other group.
How many more children do you want?
4.
And
I want to adopt. because that's been I thought, you know what, I want to give back. There's a lot of kids out there that don't have parents,
right?
I want to adopt too. So I'm looking at that. Yeah.
Do you think perhaps like this new role that you've taken on doing this driving is you being tested to see if you can still provide that level of nurturing and care, and being a driver, being the director for what needs to happen to show and prove that you are ready to have more children?
That's exactly why I did it, Chief. Driving the school bus. I drove a school bus 20-something years ago. So coming back to this, I actually did this to prepare me for that journey. Yes. That's actually why I did, and I love it. I love it. And I have, again, I started out with 4 babies. They're 4-year-olds. They added 2 more, and 3 more. I'm sorry. I wound up having 7 of them. And those were and they're actually on the school bus. It's so cute. They have the car seats built into for the bus for them. So that's a whole nother group. And I know each and every one of them, their personalities and everything. But yes.
Right. But so now, even if you had, let's say, having 4 more children, and then you might adopt more than one. And in a situation like that, you'd have these different genetic dynamics. But because you've now been driving this bus, you're used to now dealing with, because they got different parents, different mothers, different fathers. So you got all these different dynamics coming into one space, which is making you more qualified to handle the dynamics of possibly a new blended family. So it's like taking this job it's a test, but it's also a testament that you are reaching out for children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the innocent ones. They're the ones that are always misunderstood. They're the ones.
Have you ever found a situation where you were with, like, maybe one of your bus monitors or someone you work with, maybe even one of the mothers, and for just a moment you felt like a little like energy, like paternal and maternal energy?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I see the mothers kiss them. I see the dads, like, I see exactly.
No, I'm talking about the people you work with. I'm talking about like the monitors you work with.
Oh no. Not every monitor is able. I have a good monitor. She handles it. But it goes back to the man and the woman.
Yeah.
It definitely, it definitely is a role. Definitely a role. But I'm the most active one there.
Okay.
I know each and every one of their temperaments. I had to separate my other group. I had to separate them. So I'm like, they can't sit. Those two are. So I do that.
Right. But that's what they're supposed to be doing, right?
Yeah, but the driver is responsible. She follows me. Well, I noticed you can't do this. Separate. And then she's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, no, we ain't doing it that way. No, because. And then once I do it that way, it's like, no, this is why. And I explained. I said, that's why I did it that way. So because again, going back to that guidance.
But like, do you find like after you explain this is how it needs to go, that from there there's a system forward and there's no problems after that?
Exactly. There was a moment, but I'm like, no, this is where it's gonna work. Because I know these children, I know each and everything. I'm driving, but I'm paying attention to what's going on. I got eyes behind my head. No, I can see exactly what's going on. I pay attention to their behavior. Like,
but theoretically, if you had a better monitor, you would be able to focus just on your part.
Yes. Well, she is the best monitor I have at the time. There's some that are worse.
No, but I mean, if you had someone who was fulfilling their role in entirety, it kind of makes me think about maybe like a husband-wife role.
Yeah.
So when the wife is not really stepping up like she should, the husband ends up being Mr. Mom. He's doubling. It sounds like you're doubling up a little bit now.
No, I'm doing that now.
Right.
But I understand also that.
No, he's not.
I've always done that. No, to answer your check, no, I've done it with my son. Actually, no, to answer your question, Chief, yes, I've done it with my son. But I also, I'm just really at that. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a good thing to think about, because as you're constructing this model of like, wow, I can handle the energy of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different children. There's a part of that model. You vacuuming, Master Menyelek? What's going on, man? You got a hand vacuum in the background?
No, that
Oh,
might be the AC. It just kicked in.
oh, okay.
Oh wow, this sounds like a vacuum.
Yeah, right. Man.
It just got a new Dyson.
Right. Exactly. So, but as you're constructing this model, or not just constructing it, you're observing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, yeah, I can be amongst these children again. This is not something that is impossible. Like, but also you're not really totally seeing the model in the healthiest sense, because you don't have that woman there who's showing you, and this is what it looks like when I'm doing my job.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's even tricky there, because you could end up falling into a pattern of father who's doing too much, mother who's doing too little, and you can go have those other 4 children and adopt more and be right back in that same pattern.
You're right.
Again,
No, thanks, Chief, because you're right. It's like, so because you don't want to burn out. No, give thanks for the what you're sharing, because wow. I'm just gonna say wow. Because I'm hearing what you're saying, but also understanding to keep it a balance. Like you said, the roles got to be played properly. Yes. And now that's the part that I'm going to learn to make sure that's applied. Yes. Moving forward.
How are you going to do that?
Whew. Chief speaks.
Okay.
That's one. Trusting the Elohim to and Anu, making sure that counsel. I have you. I have Master Menyelek. I have number one, the Most High, and to make sure that you see everyone out knew. I'm still telling you I don't know every damn thing. I told you. This is where the Elohim is trust, and make sure that the right woman is chosen for that space, and make sure that she's nurtured into that moment. Yes, that's I'll just say it like that. And more. But yes.
What does the right woman look like?
The right woman is submissive.
We both said white, so
I was just gonna say,
I'm like, damn.
Freudian slips.
What the right woman looks like.
She might be whatever she is.
Whatever she is.
Right. Whatever she is.
Brother.
Right.
It is her submitting and surrendering to under your authority. And being in her role as a woman.
That's vague, man.
I know. I knew you were gonna say that.
That's vague, brother.
See that.
Yeah, you was trying to slip that one underneath the door.
No, you know what? This is where the Chief Jegna comes in teaching me school, because you know what? I'm still being schooled in this.
Well, love, again, as y'all talking about, it's a love thing. It's like I said, it's an allowance. Mm-hmm. So, and love is an active. Love is a verb, man. It's a duty. Mm-hmm. What I do for you, what you do for me, it's active, right? So just like when the world was created, that was an act, an active creation. Mm-hmm. So there has to be that where both of us are tuning into that frequency first, so we can say we love. Mm-hmm. We are both looking and committed to this place of love, right? Mm-hmm. And once that happens, then you should be able to say with all trust, hey, check it out. I'm gonna fall back and do the man thing. I love you. So you do the woman thing, right? And she might be like, I don't know everything to do. But if she truly loves you, she'll find out. Mm-hmm. She'll scramble. you know, because she's already put her mind, she's already looked at herself from your eyes, and she understands some of your struggle, some of what you have to deal with. So certain things she doesn't even want to bring to you.
Mhm.
You know, like you driving a bus and you got children acting up and the monitor may not say something, but she's not thinking like this man has to focus on the road or we all might die. So let me take that off his plate so he doesn't have to think about that. You know, and that keeps the engine running. So that keeps us, you know, when you get to a place where you're so in love with the frequency, because the frequency is the frequency of everything, right? So everything that exists that joins together exists because of that frequency. And whenever you're feeling emotions that don't feel right, it's because you're not in that frequency.
Okay.
You see, it's just like light and dark. You know, you have light and you have dark. Darkness is nothing. It's not a thing like light is. It's there, but it's not a thing. So you have love, which is a thing, and then anything outside of that is nothing. So if you and that woman are tuned into love, you're gonna be tuned into something that's active. And whenever there's a lack of activity, there ain't no love.
Mm.
Because now you've went off into the blackness of outer space of no thing. You see.
Mm.
So I would say it begins with a thorough understanding of how you two are gonna unleash love on each other.
Mm.
You know, it begins with that because the roles change, man. The roles are are a lot of times not what we think, man. And then when we say submission and come under the authority, that's cool. But do you love yourself enough? Have you loved yourself enough to get out of the way of yourself and listen to what the Most High has put into you as an act of love? If not, your authority ain't worth nothing. You see, your authority is a product of your bloodline. You see, but if you don't ever talk to great grandpa, you don't know what story to write. You don't even know what page we're on in the story in the book. You see, the Most High is writing, is authoring, and it's saying, "All right, here now you write this page." But if you're not even tuned into that frequency of the Most High, you don't even know what page to turn to. Like, what page is mine? You see. So then when the sister comes along and she's like, "What you want me to do?" You start making up stuff. You know what? Organize these stick pins over here. Put the red one. Don't put the red and the blue ones together because they'll fight. Put the red ones over here. Put the blue ones over here. Put the yellow ones. The yellow ones is Latin Kings. Put them over there. You know what I mean? Like you just start making up stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because you know when you're tuned into that love frequency, the orders are always they're always right there. You always know what to do. You know, it's like when you're in a relationship and you establish that type of format. And I can tell you as a brother who runs a harem, when I have sisters who talk to me or message me and like, do you need me to do anything today? It's sickening to my stomach. It's so sickening. You already know what you need to do. You're trying to see how out of tune I am with my purpose. But I'm constantly imputing what you need to do into you as it's being imputed into me. So you want me, see that questions like that, what that is that's a Jezebel trying to take you out of your purpose. Because let's say you wake up, you say 5 a.m., I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. She'll say, you need me to do anything? What can I help you with today? Right at 5 a.m. Now you got to sit down and figure out what to give her as an assignment. That takes at least 45 minutes. You just threw my whole schedule off because you didn't want to tune into the frequency because you're godless. You know, so tuning in has a lot to do with it, man. You know, especially for you. We talk about love. It's a love thing. You know, well, how much love are you allowing? Are you truly allowing the spirits and that frequency and the creator to love you truly? You know, or are you saying it? you know, like how much are you truly allowing, you know?
And I can say to you, Chief, realistically, as you're sharing, I'm still developing that. I'm not there.
I don't know where there is because I ain't there either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't even know where there
Right.
is. You know, I just know that I'm in a process.
Right.
And I don't know what the end looks like. Hell, I don't even know where the beginning was.
Right.
Be honest with you, I don't even know how I got here. One day I was riding my bike and putting bricks in the front of the house and putting boards of wood in front of it and ramping up and building ramps as a kid. And next thing you know, I'm standing on stages and telling people how to save the community. I don't even know what.
Mm-hmm.
I was just ramping my bike a minute ago, and now everybody's calling me Baba. Baba? What? You crazy? I still eat candy. You know what I mean? Baba, I watch cartoons. You know, so I don't know where I started. I don't know where it ends, and it just sometimes you start to realize that that is the frequency. The frequency is eternal. So whenever you're looking to say, "Well, I'm not there," there is an end. The creator doesn't end. There is no end. You know, so you don't want to look for a destination. Forget that. You know, just get me on. Let me ride that thunderbolt. I don't know where it's going. Yeah, let me ride. Let's ride it. I don't care. You know.
Oh man. Yeah.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Were you gonna say, Master Menyelek?
I was thinking about my grandparents in general. They like sometimes they just want company. Like it don't have to be nothing specific. It's just like, but like you know they always get on you like whenever you go to see them. Like, why don't you come and see me more often? And you always thinking like, for what?
For what?
What am I come here to do?
Right.
You always think of your presence as like there to serve like a means to an end, and then once they're done with you, you can go on your way. It's never like your presence being a gift until you see your grandparents and they're like, you know, like you should come over more. You know, like I don't know the last person who told me that. Like you should come over more, and it's always that same thought. Like for what? We can do.
You know what that is? It's because even when we get older, a lot of times we're still arrogant. Because you shouldn't even have to ask for what. You should come over more. What the hell does that even mean? Why don't you say, I would like it, or could you please, if you have time, could you come over and spend some time with me? Because I like when you're here. You know, hey man, everybody too much in a rush, man. You need to sit down over there, man. Come over some more, just sit down.
Right.
What? You know what I'm saying? Tell the truth. You getting old, and you've learned some lessons. You're retired, so you ain't got nowhere to go. You've learned some lessons in life now, and you realize that family is important. But you don't want to say that to me because you still got young person ego. Old person time and young person ego. Come on, man. I don't go together. That's like polka dots and stripes. You see?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
Yeah, my grandfather used to do stuff like, he used to take your stuff, like real smooth, like you be wearing something around your wrist. He's like, come here, what's this? Does this fit me? You know, next thing you know, it's on his arm, and you happy you gave it to him. You feel honored. He just got fleeced. It's like, yeah, how are you coming back for this on his mind? That's how he used to get you.
You know, it's funny you were saying, Master Menyelek, about, see, I was always at my grandparents. My one, I'm blessed. You know, when she was bringing that comment about the vibration between man and woman, my one set of grandparents, my granddad, he had chores for us to do. My grandmother, you know, of course, they were older, but she had the food ready after we cleaned and did things because she knew that, and this is what he did. this is what he wanted, and I'm grateful to see that. And I also was grateful to see Baba with Mama handling things again. She handled the home. This is going back to what we were sharing, Chief, with and then he handled the outside. He made sure. And so, as you were sharing that, Chief, about the dynamics of the woman and you, and of course the man stepping back and okay, you handle this, you handle the home part, you handle this part. I'm just visualizing those moments I was able to witness those moments. It wasn't like that in my whole family. It was, I just remember those two instances that I can recall.
And that changes over time. Because I mean, as we get older as men, the women are stronger than us. When we hit a certain age, you hit around 70, 80 years old, your woman could choke you to death. She could strangle you if she felt like it. You wouldn't be able to get her off you. You know what I'm saying? So the roles.
Yeah, you shaking.
You know what I'm saying? The roles be changing, man. You know, you be in the kitchen with that jar of almond butter, you know, trying to hit the bottom. This used to work. I don't know, something wrong with it, you know. And she, well, give it to me. Let me see it. She, you know,
I'm loosening it up for you.
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? But she know, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you know what, Chief? That wasn't like that for Bob, because they were both from the military.
Mm-hmm.
My one grandfather, and he wasn't my biological grandfather. My other biological was the other part you mentioned but my second one, no, he was the man. I still got his dog tags. It's so funny. But
yeah, but are you still the man even if your positioning changes?
Yeah.
Okay. Because a man is more than the duty and the assignments that he can bring to the household. Mm-hmm. A man's presence in the household is balancing. It's like, you know, when you get certain rugs, you go to India, rugs are designed in a way to bring balance into the home. It's not like, yo, I got, you know, blue curtains, let me get a blue rug. You know, the curtains match the drapes. I mean, the carpet match the drapes. You know what I'm saying? It's not that type of, you know, porno situation, but it's like you're looking for balance. So when you have a masculine energy and inside of a home, it brings a balance to a home. You know, it brings a balance to a home. So even if he ain't big and strong anymore, it's the same instance when you got a woman in a home. You know, I was with a woman for a really long time when I was younger, and we lived together. And I remember like a couple of sisters, because I had a studio in the home, but I had like different entrances. So you wouldn't necessarily have to go upstairs and everything. And a lot of times sisters, they didn't believe that I had a woman at the time. And I had this sister real wise sister. We still cool to this day. And she told me one day, she was like, because there's no feminine energy in your home at all. She's like, it doesn't feel like a woman lives here. I was like, yeah, she's right upstairs. You know, but it was true. She wasn't bringing that energy whatsoever. She didn't have it to give it. You know what I mean? But at that age and at that time, I didn't know how important that was until I went other places and really experienced. It was like, oh, this feels, like a womb.
Right.
Yeah, even a sofa. Everything feels like a womb. You know? So you start to see the difference, man, and that, you know. So I think even just the very presence alone, and that's a part of the love energy as well, that connection and seeing the value, I'm just here. That's it. We ain't got to talk about transaction. You going to do this, or what do you bring to the table? Now, you know, transactional relationships are, you know, as old as time, but that ain't got nothing to do with the love part. You know, it's two different things, you know. Yeah. And you got to know, you got to negotiate those differently. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't negotiate them together, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say nowadays it's treated like a prerequisite. Like, but you have to prove to me that you love me through your transaction, you know, right? Or I have to prove my love to you through some sort of transaction.
Yeah.
There's no, I like your presence. Like, people
Or I
aren't
need
really
it.
like, yeah, I need it. Like people don't feel vulnerable enough to say it because it's like I'm showing all my cards, like I'm showing my belly almost.
Right. The soft underbelly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see a couple of things in the chat too. Let me scroll up.
Yeah, I know it's been a while since the chat.
Uh-oh. Thing froze. Okay.
I can read it for you guys if you want. I can read it if you want to answer it.
Okay.
Okay, so you have I think it starts with Sequoia. That was very deep, Master Menyelek. Which one loves me? Jason said, Abba Herut, what do you mean by surrender? Do you have any examples?
Yeah. When you're surrendering, wow, that's a good one. When you surrender, I remember a moment where I wanted to do it my way. And so the Most High was like, okay, go ahead, do it your way. Go ahead. Like you were saying, Chief. So I did it and I kept messing up. So I was like, no, go, keep going. So surrendering means for me was, okay, I realized it's not working the way I'm doing it. My ego, stop. You don't know every damn thing. Let it go. Surrendering means allowing yourself to know, be honest that if you don't know, be honest with it. And then allow yourself to know. Like Chief just broke down something to me that is funny that he said this, because as he's sharing this, the Most High mentioned that many years ago. He said, yeah, you mastered everything else, the work and everything, but you need that balance. The Chief just said that a moment ago. Do you know I'm still working on that? I'm still developing that. Now, I don't have it all. So surrender, what does surrendering mean? Surrendering means allowing yourself to work on what you need to bring that balance, like Chief just shared, of this love. Because again, the love affair, this is how I'm assimilate the part of the growth. It's a continuous movement. So I'll be honest with you, I don't have in my thoughts, I don't have an idea. And that's good because I'm willing to learn. This is why I'm in Anu. I'm willing to say that in this space, surrendering means I'm not letting my ego run me and like, you know what, Chief? Yeah. Like Chief just said, okay, I got you, Chief. That's not surrendering. That is like, oh, you got it. Okay, you got it, so your butt should get it. The thought is this, in order for me to move in the way the Most High wants me to move, and again, this love affair is surrendering. I want to surrender and apply the knowledge that I'm receiving. And then, but it starts with, like Chief just asked, okay, what woman do you want? I know I want feminine energy and want, okay, that starts right there. Well, guess what? That knocks out 85% of the population. Because Chief just did a segment on Jezebel spirits. Well, that's damn near. So, yeah, it's real talk. That's slim. 85% of the population of females out there, y'all are not it. So now I have to rely on the Most High on whom? That's going to be discernment. That's going to be a lot of, but Chief just broke it down simply. Is she submitting? Is she going to serve you? That's it. It's that simple. The Most High is like, with him, it's not about, it's complicated. It's only complicated when I put my ego in it. Surrendering means I surrender to his will. So why? It's simple. Chief brought it down. Now, I'll be honest with you. It sounds simple the way Chief broke it down because Chief is a Jegna. It sounds simple, but it's work. It's really work. Why? Because there's components. There's components. I'm saying the word wrong. There's components to this. That I'm gonna get it. See, I'm gonna get it. There's mathematics, but the key is, like he said, it's one. What do you want? And just allowing it to be in the space. So that's where the work comes. So that's where the surrender is. So surrender is knowing full well that you do not know, but are you willing to get to the part of the knowing of the Most High, like the love affair, and that is surrender. Stop trying to run everything your way. That's my answer to that question.
I think I'd like to add on before we go to the next one.
Yeah.
I think an important thing with surrendering too is also understanding that when you render, when you surrender something, you're giving it back to who made it, right? So it's just like if I steal something and then I surrender it, I'm bringing it back to the person I stole it from, right? So it's the same thing I would say when it pertains to your will, or things that you want to do, like your will or your agenda, right? Your will and your agenda should come from your creator, your original maker. So once you discover who and what your original maker is, then you surrender your own will. Like, here, take it back, because it wasn't for me to have to begin with. So you take it back, and then whatever you want to do with it, go ahead. So it's similar to like even your own body, like when we say, man, I give myself as a sacrifice to the mission of my creator. Well, yes, you're giving yourself, but you didn't make yourself. You know what I'm saying? So like, we really doing, you know what I'm saying? Other than just coming back home, at the end of the day. So I would just add on to what was shared in terms of surrendering. It would be, you're letting go of maybe certain desires or certain agendas, but it starts with recognizing that I am trying to control something that I have no business controlling. You see, I have no business controlling. That's where it begins at. And sometimes that's what kind of messes us up a little bit. We inject too much of our will, too much of our own personal will into the mix. And then we start to think that our personal will and our personalities and our inclinations are all of our making. Like, oh, I came up with this. This is my personality. And when you surrender yourself back to a higher purpose, you actually get to find out what your real personality is. You find out who and what you really are, but you don't find that out as long as your lower level agendas are at play. So you have to surrender those over.
Yeah, that brought to mind too. You had said, sometimes I can't remember the segment. I don't always have the name, but
Me neither.
You had said about I think it was like sisters like asking a bunch of questions, like okay, we're gonna do this, and they start asking a bunch of questions, and those questions coming from a place of insecurity, and even with this last segment, the lack of faith, affecting the soundness of our doctrine or the soundness of our life and how we move in sickness, because we don't have that level of faith. So it's like, what's going to happen to me if I surrender? What's going to happen to me? Right? Okay, yeah. Like if someone says, okay, the movie Fight Club, when he let go of the steering wheel, and he was he's teaching himself a lesson in a sense, right, where he's like, oh, you got to learn to let go. Stop trying to control everything and just let go. Stop moving with all this tension about what it is you're being told to do. Anytime someone calls your name, you tense up like, oh boy, what's coming now? Instead of just, it was Samuel the first time he heard the voice of Yah, and he thought it was Eli calling him. And he was like, okay, but no, that's not me. That's not me calling you, but I know what's going on. Next time you hear that voice, just say, speak, Lord, your servant is listening. And it's just like the love piece, like our Herut said, it is more complex. I think it is simple. We make it complex. And it's the same with that speak, your servant is listening. Because then all of the whatabouts come up. Like, well, what about this? What about that? Like, what if he tells me to quit my job? Like the examples you were given earlier. Or what if he tells me to break up with this girl? I like that girl. If he tells me something, I like my car. You tell me sell the car. All of the what ifs coming with all of that is from the insecurity, but it points out where you're putting your security. And it's like, if he tells me to get rid of the car, then what am I going to have? Because that's my anchor. You know, that's my base. That's my foundation. What am I going to do without my car? What am I going to do without my wife or my house or these children I've been paying bills for the last 20 years? Like, what am I going to do with all the stuff that I've invested in? You know, so
I would
those
say
things came to mind.
That's a tricky one too, because a lot of times the things that we're afraid to surrender, we're not really controlling like we think we are. You know, like I have been in plenty of relationships where women have told me, like, I know I'm very guarded because, you know, I have to protect my emotions, or I've been hurt before, things like that. And I've often told them that if I wanted to destroy you, I could have did it already. You know, like my mind is much more powerful than yours. So these little walls that you think you thinking you're protecting yourself, I'm just being kind by pretending that they're stopping me from getting inside of here and twisting it all up if I felt like it. You know, and sometimes I'll tell them that, like, yeah, you know, I could have did whatever I wanted to do to you, you know, long time ago. If I felt like it, I can do whatever I feel like to you, because that's how much more powerful I am than you. So when you finally, you know, and that's the beauty, I think, of the Most High, because the Most High is the same way with us. When we're like, nah, we're running, the Most High is like, you know, I could just make you do this. You know, like,
it's like, where you going? You do realize I'm everywhere, right?
I'm everywhere. I can see everything. I can travel through dimensions. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, I travel through the mental plane. I even know what you're thinking. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, nah, because I got questions and I asked God and God didn't tell me. And the Most High is like, oh, I'll wait. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have those scriptures like where he's like, yo, blink of an eye is like 1,000 years. Because it's like, look, bro, that's basically saying this, and it's a slick way of saying it. Like, I'm not going to wait forever. That's really what that's saying. That's saying, I will let you die and do it with somebody else because I live longer than you. So whereas you thinking you doing me some kind of favor, I'm doing you the favor by choosing you and letting you be this thing. So again, a lot of times the fight with surrendering is like, you don't even realize that, number one, you don't have the control over what you're holding on to that you think you do. And grace and mercy is being shown to you by it not just being snatched. You know what I'm saying? It could just be, you could be like, yeah, man, you know, I can't come to Sabbath, whatever, because I got to work. I got to make money. And now realizing that the Most High just take the job. You know, now you can't leave. It's now you can't leave. You know what I mean? So it's it's like that thing that you think that you become so afraid of surrendering and handing over. You don't realize someone's just being merciful with you. There's an entity just being merciful. If it wanted, it could just take whatever you're holding on to. And sometimes we get to that age where the Most High says, all right, I gave you enough time. Now you got dementia. Mine is gone. Because for years I've been telling you, I want you to do this. I gave you a brilliant mind. Do this work for me. Now you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. All right, give me back the brain. You see, things get taken like that, right? And it's not even, the most important thing to understand is that the Creator doesn't take it. Satan does. Because like when Job said that, the Lord give and take away, Job, he know what he's talking about. That's not true. The Most High gave and Satan took it away. Satan didn't take that. I mean, the Most High didn't take, Satan took that from you. Satan is your human thought. So your human thought is always trying to take stuff away from you and mess you up. And the Most High is putting a real wall there called your spirituality, preventing that from happening. But then if you ignore that, but for so long, the Most High says, okay, I'm not going to support that spirit anymore. You're on your own. Now you notice your brain cracks, snaps, you're emotional, you're imbalanced, all this stuff. Yeah, because now you're functioning on your own fumes. This is what you're able to do by yourself. You thought all this time you were doing it and you were holding on to things, you were controlling stuff, and I was being patient with you. But if every scripture was telling you that you're not, but you were ignoring those. Every scripture was, the earth is the Lord and the bountiful, like everything is saying it's mine, but you just ignored that and thought it was yours. Okay, I'm going to show you what part is yours. I'm going to show you how far you can get with your brain, and I bet you revert to an animal, or a vegetative state. So that's just, I would share that. I'll read the next one for you guys so you can get through them. Margie Marie Art says, if someone you love transitions, you got it, from this plane of existence, does that love you share change? If so, how?
Does the love you share change? If someone you love transitions from this plane of existence, what's the love? Like, what's the love connecting you to? Is it connecting you to their physical body, or is there a spiritual connection there between you and the person? I think your perception of the person would change if you're connected to the physical form and not necessarily the spirit that was there.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand the question, but the best way I can explain because I've seen transitions and meaning in my own life. I understand what transition is, like Chief just mentioned. I can say, and it's funny, Chief just broke it down like that. Most times these transitions are happening is because people don't acknowledge. It could be two ways. If they don't acknowledge the role that they are playing and they don't the time, that's one. And then secondly, some people sometimes, I remember the chief broke this down. Sometimes a blessing or that transition might happen because a person or that family did not recognize the gift that was there. So sometimes I like how Chief used it. The devil utilizes that satanic energy, takes it because you didn't recognize it, you didn't respect it. So does it change? Well, most people, because of the envy. I watch people right now moaning and going through that. It's like, oh my God, I'm there. Yes, but I already know it's ego. I miss my Baba. But I'm not moaning because I know why he was here. That's for me. And he always shared this. He always says, I'm not always going to be here. But I also know why he transitioned. He transitioned because people were taking advantage of the situation. They didn't want to learn. They didn't want to listen. I said, okay, and that's like Chief just broke it down. Most of the time, these transitions, people don't want to accept it. So the change, I believe, that happens is the transitions for the person here, they don't accept it. They'll say the scripture, I love it. People just lie all damn day. They go to church and they read that same part of the scriptures. And it's like, well, you don't know. That's not what happened. I want to say it so bad. No. Chief, go ahead. I know you got something. I know you want to. Yeah. I'm just going to leave it alone.
I wasn't going to.
I thought you was flowing.
I was listening.
I was going to say, add another piece of that, because when you think of someone transitioning from one plane of existence to another, like all of us are on a certain plane of existence now. You mean when the broadcast ends, I'm supposed to feel differently about everyone who's on the call?
Well,
like, I don't think it's like object permanence. Like with babies, like at a certain age, you do the peekaboo thing, you cover your face, and they think you just disappeared. You move your hands, say, "Where'd you come from?" It's like, I was always here. I was here the whole time. So does the transitioning of someone from one plane to the next sever whatever bond you had?
Right.
If it does, then I don't know how the process happens. Like when they die, everything just goes. You know, even if I delete something off my computer, I still kind of miss the program.
I think that also in the West, there's such a misconception about transitions. That's one thing I learned over the years. We oh my gosh, when I've gone to certain parts of the world, in Mexico and the continent, they look at death a totally different, you know, totally different. The transitions, they look at it totally different. And I like the idea about transitioning. We transition every day. I mean, look at the word itself, transition. I'm transitioning every day. And I'm not afraid to transition one day. I know that, yes, there's going to be probably some that are not going to like that. We know that. We were talking about it. Yeah, Chief was asking, okay, well, if what happens? What happens at that moment? Okay, but that's just it. Are you prepared? Are you ready? Are you willing to accept? Or better yet, to transition the Most High. Okay, you don't want to do what you're supposed to do. Okay, now the distance comes. I think that's a transition. And most people don't know it. That's why they go through this turmoil. The problems are so. It's just a matter of how one looks at it. I think that there's a part of it in the change is that most people don't have a really concept of understanding. They really don't. They don't really want to say they don't accept it because they just accept what has been told at these funerals. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my God. I hate it. Because it's not, but again, it's the ego. I believe that a lot of it has to do, and I know I have family members right now still struggling. Is that no, I'm just gonna mess with you, Master Menyelek. That sound like a motorcycle, but I guess it's not a motorcycle.
That ain't me. Chief smiling because you know this.
Oh, that's why on Chief's end. Okay.
Yeah, you know
nobody coming out here.
Yeah, not enough to be a jet ski.
Yeah. Yeah. But I know family members right now are lamenting and they not accepting it. They're still, I'm not gonna mention, I know some family members right now going through because of that transitioning. Does it change? I think that what it is they are not accepting it. And that change is that they really, that's a Jezebel part. Chief, when it does, because again, it's like, that company, misery loves company. I think of that misery. So now, if that transition for most people that are really lamenting over that, they're really having hard, again, not letting go. Having a hard time letting go, having a hard time accepting change. That's another thing that's very important. And allowing the process. And I say this because, like I said, I had my mom and I had my Baba. I missed my Baba. I miss my mom, as crazy as it is, but I also understood, no, that was a choice. They didn't want to do what they're supposed to do. My Baba, I understood his. His was, going back to what Chief was saying, he hated the fact that people did not want to, they didn't heed when he was here sharing that doing what the Most High says to do. They did not, it fell on deaf ears. So now it's like, okay, and now I know some elders that are to this day are messed up because they took it for granted. They took it for granted, and yeah, because they thought that he was going to be here forever, and he said it. But the reason they're having a hard time accepting that transition is because why? They took it for granted, and they didn't heed the message. And the message do have that relationship with the Most High like he was having. And because of the evil Jezebel spirits within them and the Ahabs that are so, he's like, okay, you know what? Y'all not listening. I'm fine. So that's my answer to that question, Chief.
Okay. I would just add a little bit in there. And I would just say that the relationship or the love that you share is going to change based on how much you allowed when they were living. Right. So if you connected, if that person, that loved one, had a certain way that they tapped into the love frequency. There was a certain way. And you shared that way with them. And that way transcended their human form. Then when they transition, you're still going to share that with them because it had nothing to do with their human form. But if you only have one or two ways that you connect with someone, or it's just our connection is just that we're related, grew up together, or whatever the case may be, then I think that your perception of the love you shared would change because you don't have as many linkages. So like I've had elder men in my family transition, but pretty much all of the men, with the exception of a few in my family, are musicians, and we all used to play together. So whenever I play, and I've been playing with the men in my family since I don't even know, probably since I was in diapers. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was always a drum in my hand or a cowbell or something or a triangle here, hit this, so there was always something. I was always in the middle of all the instruments and the singing and, my mother and my aunties dancing. I grew up in that. But there were also other things. Most of the men in my family, we all ride motorcycles. That's a thing that we all share. We all ride bikes. So we riding together, you know what I mean? Going to the bike show together, going to the car show together, stuff like that. So those are multiple linkages, but specifically looking at things like riding a motorcycle, which can be very primal, and drumming, playing instruments, singing, chanting, making songs. Those are all very primal, and they tap into a love frequency because when I used to play with my fathers and my uncles, I commanded just as much respect musically as they did, because in that space, we all were humbled to us being the tribe of Yehuda. We are all a part of this praise tribe. It doesn't matter that I'm 11 years old and y'all are, 30, 40 years old. It don't matter. I'm holding down my part and I'm doing it proficiently. And we're all trying to tap into this other space, this other frequency, right? So that, because it had nothing to do with age, it transcended me being 11 and then being this or that, or, so if they transition, their body transitions, we still have that. So when I sit down and play an instrument, I see them all around me. I still see my uncle JR on the drums. I see, my father singing, and, everybody's right there. They ain't going anywhere because they were never there. Most of the time when I play, I don't have my eyes open anyway. So it wasn't even about physically looking at anything. So when they transition in the body, I see them the same exact way I saw them before. You see, so I would say that's why it's important to allow all the forms of love that your elders and your loved ones want to share with you, and it may not be things that mean that much to you, or they may come to mean things to you. You might have an elder who likes to garden and you just ain't really into it that much, but that's their love. That's how they connect. The more you share that with them, the more that string between you will remain constant after their physical transition, because that thing superseded that, So I would just add that on to it. That's all, You had a bunch more here.
All right. The next one would have been
Aquia, I think there are different types of love, like agape, eros, or filial love, none of which I fully, that ain't really a question. No, she could just look that up. Yeah. And I've taught that already. So don't got to answer that one. We can skip to the next one.
All right.
How do you discern the Most High voice from the voice of the ego? I've been teaching that forever. I'm not even going to comment on that one. None of y'all should be able to answer that. I'm surprised it wasn't answered in the chat already.
Yeah, it is true. It's kind of quiet there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, they got you, Aggie Jason. You know,
Yeah.
if they're still awake.
They should have been able to answer that.
Sequoia says, reminds me of the command of the day, casting on your promises, that consumption of wanting love to be trickled down. And I don't remember what we was talking about. Having that father play both roles is definitely a book. Oh, that was to you, Herut. What just happened? Oh, okay, I remember that one. That's my grandfather pulling the fast one. Grandparents really teach you about love because they're on a different pace. Can you be present to be walk in tune with them? That is true.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember a couple of times where I'm like, I'm always like this or like this. I'm always moving. And as soon as my grandparents would call me, it's like, okay, I don't know how long this could take. It's like, come here, boy. It's like, oh boy. So that's the rest of my day probably gone because whatever you're asking me to do, I'm not gonna say no. And I don't know. None of us know how long it's gonna take. You don't know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What you got for me, Grammy? And say, I need you to come see if you could fix this lawnmower. Grammy, lawnmower. Where you even get this? This is all a motor. It's a push lawnmower. Where you get this from? You know. So
you ain't never lied.
Yeah, that's a whole different pace. You gotta walk on here too. But you learn stuff by slowing down and walking at a pace that you would have never learned if you kept moving with that quote unquote fast pace where you think you're getting more stuff done. And
you gotta be,
yeah.
Gotta be in tune with other people's needs, man. How they're calling out to you, just like how a child calls out. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, you could just tell they just need you that day by the questions they ask. You know, and you gotta like pause and like recognize the need. I had that happen the other day with my uncle. It was last strong. We had to do something together, and we were doing something together that was really like we got to get in and get out. And God, Lee. First of all, like soon as we started, we got to where we were supposed to be. He's like, "Oh, you got the time?" As soon as he said that, I'm like, "Here we go." Here we freaking go. Do I got the time? Like what? I was like, yeah, so he was like, well, you hungry? I'm like, bro, we just
paying you up front.
Yeah, like we had something we had to do. I'm like, yo, we just got. He was like, well, look. Then he waits for a while. And he was like, did you eat yet? And he's like, well, and he always does this crap. I can't, that's why, there's a thing, man. There's like, I can't stand people with diabetes. Like, I can't stand them. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really be thinking they be that diabetes. You know what I'm saying? Like, they use it. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, yeah, well, I got to eat a certain time of diabetes. I'm like,
it's all right.
Yeah, come on, man. Oh Lord, my diabetes. So he's like, yeah, I'm supposed to really technically eat. Then he gives me, I'm supposed to eat between 9 and 11. Then I got to eat again between 1 and 3, and then my last meal got to be 6 to 9. I'm like, come on, bro. And I was like, yo, you ain't got no granola bars in the truck? Nah, I don't carry nothing with me. Because he's like, I pretty much got it under control. Then why are you, so we got to go eat. Then he's like, hey, where your brother at? Because I owe him a meal. I told him I was going to take him out the meal. Let's go pick up your brother. And then my brother's like, nah. He's like, nah, I'm sat there, lied, told a bold-faced lie to the man face. He's like, nah, I eat one meal a day. It's too early. I'm like, you freaking liar. Left me out there to dry. We go to eat. Then on the way back, he's like, yeah, your cousin's in town. We got to go swing by. We got to go see him, right? Meanwhile, I got this major thing to do, and I'm like, we really gotta like. He's like, yeah, only take a minute. So it's like
you said that 3 hours ago.
Right. When you was at the buffet loading your plate up, and you know I don't eat any of this, and I'm sitting there picking around these GMO grapes with no seeds in them that I just paid $18 for because the buffet was $18, and I'm like, and I'm drinking clearly tap water, tap water and GMO grapes.
Little white flakes floating around in the water.
Right. I'm just staring around with my straw like, yeah, so we probably should get back. Oh, we gotta go see your little cousin first, man. I ain't seen him in so long. They probably got, So, but you start to realize, man, this ain't about what you feel needs to, it's the journey. It ain't about what you feel that needs to get done. It's about how much goodwill can you do on this journey. So, this is about, let me spend the day with Unc and then, not get done what I needed to get done. You know what I'm saying? And that's a setup. So, I could come back tomorrow after my doctor's appointment. Okay, Unc, we'll do it again tomorrow. No, not a problem. So what should have been like, I planned on 2 hours. I wanted to be in and out. It's 2 days now. But you got to give those elders that time, just like you give children that time. And that's the thing. When you're tuned into it, you learn how to walk in that tune, because there was a time when my uncle, he's ripping and running. You know what I mean? So you'd see him in passing, like, yeah, gotta go. I remember when he used to work 2 jobs and all these different things, but being sensitive to our clan, like, this one's older, he's moving slower now, so he needs something different than he needed before. And I need something different than what I need before, because looking at him, I'm looking at me. I'm like, oh, so this is me in 25 years. This is it. Like, I'm gonna be bothering my children and my nephews, like, hey, I'm gonna bother and help me with my motorcycle. Like, am I gonna be doing that? And I'm thinking in my head, like, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. You know what I'm saying? I can see me, being slick and coercing them, calling them with 911 texts, stuff like, I can see me doing stuff like that. So you get to witness that cycle when, like, the sister Yamina says, you walk in tune. When you change your frequency a little bit, you get a glimpse of what you need to prepare for. Like, I don't want diabetes. You know what I mean? So you think about stuff like that. Or like my uncle's a lifelong martial artist. Like, he's an amazing martial artist. And we were doing some physical work. This dude's hopping up and down from his knees, jumping, doing, like, he's doing everything. He's like, I'm like, yeah, all them years of martial arts training, like, he's like, yeah, he was like, I'm flexible, I can do whatever I need to do. So that's sometimes the gifts you get too. When you slow down, you say, oh, well, maybe that'll be me 25 years from now. I'll be able to still move like that, although he got to get a knee replacement. So I don't want that part. You can keep that part. Right. That part you can have. But the other stuff, yeah, So.
You know what, Chief? It's interesting you just said, and I just totally forgot about this. But like you said, I was around elders all my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting, 2 of the elders that I was, they're transitioned now. My padrino was the last one, and the one that I used to visit, he transitioned. Yeah. The one I did.
Right. I remember. Yeah.
And I check on nephew now. I've been checking on him and nephew and the nieces and everything, because I'm so used to checking on Bob and seeing how he's doing. But you just brought it to I forgot, because it's funny, because I'm like, oh my God, this is second strong. I gotta go. I'm like, I gotta go check. But I'm so used to checking on him and seeing what he needs, and he's amputee and everything. And again, it's like those moments where you're there, and just like now, it's like the question was asked about grandparents. I ride public transportation everywhere. everywhere. And that's because of my grandmother and great-grandmother. It started with them. Got me up early in the morning to go to Jewel. I'm like, why is she getting me up at 6 o'clock in the morning to take me to miles to a Jewel, and there's one right across the street? Because that one she likes, and I'm like, and I'm on the bus. So the bus takes a lot longer because the train, both of them didn't like the train. They take the bus. I'm like, the train is right there. Why don't we just get out? But you know what? It's funny. My son does the same thing. Oh, no, Dad, no, come on. It's going to take us 2 hours to get there. I'm like, can we Uber? Can we drive? And I'm like, no, it's the journey. No, I don't. I'll say no. And it's funny you just said that, because I was with those elders. That's what they did. So I'm doing I love riding. Besides, it's free for the rest of my life, but I enjoy it because it's the journey. It's the journey that I did when I was a little boy. It's the journey that I continue. Like you were saying, the transitions, they're still here. I don't see them physically, but I still, the
right.
Or something is
it's a ritual
reminding me of something.
It becomes a ritual for you.
Exactly. So it's like, I'm like, I get it. I don't have that moment where there's a disconnect. So I just want to add that. And you brought that up. I'm like, wait a minute. Dang, did I check? Did I check on Bob? This is a bot. I can't check on him now. But like you said, I had to spend time. I had to get home. I'm like, Bob, I got to get up at 3 a.m. He's like, no, can you go and get me some cigarettes? I'm like, I don't do. Okay, Bob. Okay, here. The cigarette guy didn't come by. And I'm like, oh gosh. Yes, Bob, I know. Newports. No, I know. So this is my thing. Their routine. I don't want to do it, but I enjoy those moments.
Right.
Those are priceless to me. Priceless.
Yeah, it made me think of especially the story you was telling, Chief. It made me think of my pops, because I don't know, with I guess it's a theme with the men in our family with tricksters. And my father had me on the phone trying to solve a problem I knew he could solve himself. I was like, all right, I get it, Pops. I'll call you more. I get it. Please let me go. I went through the whole process. And I did call him more, and but it was just the whole wow, okay, this is what I'm gonna be doing with my grandkids and my nephews, just tricking them into. I'll probably just do it for fun, knowing me, just call them and make something up.
The tides turn. It's funny because now my children do that to me, because I'm actually the one that's like, look, I ain't gonna go find something to do. I had an issue with my son the other day, actually, behind that, because I was like, yo, it's summertime. And, I was like, don't be like me, because I don't care what the weather is. I don't care if it's nice outside or what. I don't need to go enjoy the beautiful day. I don't care nothing about that, and he's like that too. And I'm like, nah, man, get up, go. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, yo, I'm doing stuff. I just had a job interview. I'm doing this. I'm like, but do it outside.
Right. I'm you from the future.
Right.
Listen to me.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, don't be like me. You know what I'm saying? Go out and talk to people. You know what I'm saying? So you'd be surprised too, because I'm sure that moment will switch, and you hopefully they'll be prepared for it. But they're always wanting to be around me. My children, what you doing today, Bob? I'm gonna come through and see. Nah, don't come through. Don't see me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want y'all. Find something. I don't want you around. Y'all know that about me. Leave me alone. But I'm sure that the tides will turn at some point, and that's also beautiful to watch when someone's warrior stance sort of changes. When you change from right now, I'm still in warrior mode, so I'm still doing this and I'm doing that, and I got to go there, and I'm still slaying dragons and stuff. And biologically, I'm older than warrior mode. Like most guys my age are they're chilling or enjoying brand new possible grandbabies and stuff like that. I'm still 18. You know, I'm still out here punching holes and stuff and making things happen. So my transition may be weird. You know, it may not come normally, but I'm sure there will be a time where the polarity switch, because also you'll want to pour at a certain point. You're collecting all of these experiences and things like that, and there'll come a time where you want to now empty out, you know, into someone else. You know, that's part of that transition. You know. Yeah. All right, what's the next question, man? Because this is, you know,
so it's not actually
running into a saga. This feels like Roots. This is Roots episodes 1 through 8.
Episodes 1 and 2.
So it is not actually wanting the free will, the example of love. So it's not actually, well, love and wanting don't go together. So it's not wanting. It's a terrible sentence, Yafe. And you even started off with a capital letter. So let me just put that out there. So it's not actually wanting the free will, the example of love. Terrible. No. Well, it's weird behind question. So when you don't want free will, then you want to be a slave. So, I mean, the reality is that free will is only possible when the heart has been freed. When your heart has been renewed and it's been reconstructed and circumcised. That's what we talk about, the circumcision of the heart. When your heart has been circumcised, then your will is taken away, right? And it's let not my will, but let thy will be done. But it's all good because your will is the will of the celestial kingdom. So it matches. So I don't know, man. That's best because that question it needs a couple of commas, semicolons, and maybe some deletes. Yeah.
Oh man, that's the last question.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this ain't my segment. I'm sorry, man.
Say all right, good.
Oh, my mic is on. My mic sound nice. That's check good. 1.
Nah, we good. We good. You know what I mean? Give thanks. Always a pleasure having you pass through, Chief. You know, give thanks.
Always, Chief.
You know, give thanks, Abba Herut, for the great topic. You know, that's about it for me. You know,
yeah, but we got announcements.
Goodbyes.
Make announcements, Master Menyelek. We gotta make that.
Yeah, because I'll forget and just hang up.
I got you.
Don't do it, Zach. That's Zach's style. Zach be like, well, if anybody got anything to say, then he just hangs up. Like, what, we supposed to say it on Twitter? Like, come on, man.
Oh, man. See, these are the type of conversations we have at those retreats. Segue, right?
I see you doing it, brother. You selling Camelot.
Come on, that nuance. Come to New Orleans, August 24th to August 28th. And just come on through. Like, you don't need a reason to come through. Just go for the ride. You know, what we've been talking about is for the love of it. So if you've been coming through, you've been showing up, you've been enjoying the segments, you've been growing and experiencing change, like, why wouldn't you want to be closer to that? You know what I mean? Just come through. You know, I think Abba Herut, you have the hashtag, just come, damn it. I think that's the hashtag.
Just come. Don't be asking all those dang on questions. Just get your ticket. Get it now. Before it gets get it now.
Get your ticket. He's about to say get your tickets now. That's what he's about to say. Get your tickets now. Is that the Universal Circus?
Get your tickets.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Go to Eventbrite.
Eventbrite, right? So but just come through. We have our midday affirmative tomorrow at midday. I mean, not tomorrow. Look at me. First day at midday. It's not 12 o'clock yet. First day at midday, which is Sunday. 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Come through, and just go for the ride again. Let's continue building together. We also have Chief Yah podcast coming through on Tuesday.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Hopefully. Sometimes they're a little late.
Yeah, well, but in the meantime, you got a bunch of movies and books that you can check out. And I know y'all ain't listen to all of them segments and take all the notes, so you can always listen to the old segments. You ain't got no new segments. You ain't heard the old segment. That's your new segment.
There you go.
But yeah, well, we have Aki El Karawu still continuing with his segments on the code, right? Code science with Dr. Neely Fuller. And next Friday, we have Safta Haba and Sister Maria coming through again, right? We got a watch party tomorrow. So if you don't have the movie, it is Veronica Chooses to Die. I think, did I get that title right?
Close enough. Veronica Wants to Die. Yeah.
Veronica Wants to Die. All right. You Google it correctly. Google won't steer you wrong. But other than that, we start at 5:35. We press play at 5:35. So definitely in spirit of.
Well, it don't really matter for people who not members because they'll just be watching it because we communicate while the movie's going on. So,
yeah, that's true. They don't get our colorful commentary.
Exactly.
But I think that's about it. I don't know if there's any more announcements. If not,
you got it, Menyelek.
Well, all right, cool. Yeah, yes. Man. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Give thanks, Abba, Herut, and Chief Yah.
Thank you, brothers, for having me.
No, it's your pleasure and honor, Chief, as always.
It's your pleasure and your honor.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard it, man. It's late. Everybody's tired.
All right, peace, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Peace.